Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Tues Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval theme format where I, the crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you. Yes, you, the person who has to apologise to James Dowes. I'm very sorry, mate. I'm giving this to you on a Monday to go out on Tuesday, but I've been off last week because I got the vid. Yay! It sucks. Triple vaxxed and still managed to get it, and it still kicked my ass. Fantastic. So apologies if my delivery is a little bit off today. I'm still recovering. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week. And this week we have none other to thank than Jackson Loveless for their suggestion of 8 video game bosses that would absolutely make you crush your controller. Now, obviously, I had to do a bit of YouTube tinkering, and what I thought I'd do is do a sequel to a video that went out on our channel quite recently, which was video game bosses that were so unfair, tough, and just downright stinky that they forced you to cheat, but then condensed the title somewhat. So let's get on with it. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 7 more video game bosses that forced you to cheat. And you know the drill by now. Say hi to me here in the live chat and put your suggestions for next week's episode down in the comment section below. Now let's get on with this rather stinky list. Number 7, Total Nuclear Disarmament. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Now, while you might be expecting the Metal Gear portion of this list to be taken up by the likes of, the internal clock manipulation, seeing an end to the end, or the fact that you can put an auto input to just punch Liquid Snake's face right off, those are indeed cheats in a way. But what we're going to be talking about today is an actually impossible boss that was only recently discovered in Metal Gear Solid 5, and that was Konami themselves. So to better explain, we need to discuss the secret total nuclear disarmament ending of this game, and I use heavy quotations around the word secret because it was an ending that actually exposed itself by accident thanks to an update resetting game data, causing it to trigger. Now normally this ending would only unlock if every single active player chose to remove nuclear warheads from their base, thus ensuring a peaceful future for humanity, and was done by Hideo Kojima and his team as a thumbing gesture to the world that this would likely never happen. Yet we gamers are a persistent sort, and so a massive collaboration of players grouped together to make this dream a reality. Yet they hit a snag recently when they realised that the ending could never actually be obtained legitimately thanks to a series of nukes not actually existing to any tangible player. You see, scores of warheads apparently existed in the game data but could never be removed, meaning that this feat was actually, and quite literally, impossible, which in turn led players to resort to the same tactics as the devs and cheated their way through to unlock the ending. Peace, it seems, was never an option. That's quite worrying, isn't it? Number 6, the SANDMAN. Spider-Man for the nays. Now when it comes to boss battles that force players to spam low kicks and punches over and over again as they hide in a corner, then many people are going to think of Shadow Link from The Legend of Zelda 2. But today we're actually going to go a little bit different. We're going to go to a different area of the NES library and talk about the absolute shin-stabbing actions that came when you battled the SANDMAN in Spider-Man for the NES. Now this was a title that, while not being NES difficult, was full of the jank that many had come to expect from the console's output. Iffy controls, enemies that start shooting at you off-screen, and of course, a run cycle that turned Peter Parker into a power walker rather than a superhero. Now, the SANDMAN boss battle is normally a rather intense one, with the criminal merging into the floor and then appearing in front of you to turn you into today's special of offal served in spandex. However, if you do just, everything that Spider-Man would never do in this instance, aka just stand still, hold crouch, and beat the piss out of Sandman's groin over and over, you'll be done in no time. It might not be heroic to smash somebody's plums over and over, but it definitely gets the job done. And while it might not be considered cheating by some, because you don't need to put in any inputs, you are exploiting the game's AI considerably here by just standing and just hammering away on that groin. Come on then, ballback. He's just there like, oh god. Number 5, the Mimic Tier. Elden Ring. Now, while I would love to freely address the rather FromSoft-shaped elephant in the room and say that every boss that the developer made is very likely to want to make you cheat your way through or just grab a cheese platter and fromage your way through every single encounter, there is actually one recent example that I just found too hilarious that I just had to include. I'm speaking, of course, about the absolutely beautiful bastard that is the Mimic Tier mini-boss that you can find within the gargantuan gargantuan thigh slapper known as Elden Ring. For, depending on how you approach this fight, it can be one of the hardest, or alternatively, also one so easy that it's almost laughable. For you see, dear Tarnish, the Mimic tier is exactly that, a Mimic that will copy your exact loadout, spells and all, and then use them against you with surprising aggression. Now, if you've entered the fight with a ton of tanky armor and swords that utterly melt bosses, you're going to be on the rather spicy end this time around. But if you're a smart little cheater and start the fight absolutely naked, then you'll experience something entirely different. Spawning in with only a loincloth as protection, the Mimic tier can easily be bested by quickly re-equipping your gear and then slamming it into the ground, thus making this battle absolutely hilarious and turning what would be tears of frustration into tears of joy rolling down your cheek as you laugh at the poor old Mimic tier just flailing against you with its fist. It's trying to do a Spider-Man against the Sandman, except this time, instead of made of sand, you're made of absolute beef. Oh god, I said it. Here he comes. Beef cage. No! Alright, mate. Haven't seen you in a while. You're attacking somebody who's not feeling very well. How does that make you feel? Number 4. Cormorax the Invincible, Borderlands. So after the rather disappointing final boss of the original Borderlands base experience, the fanbase was very keen for something to sink their teeth into. Or should that be for something to sink its teeth into them? Who knows? And thus a petition went out for Gearbox to provide a real challenge. And boy howdy did they do that with the raid boss Cormorax the Invincible that appeared in the General Knox DLC, because this, well, it made you feel very, very vincible. However, as the well-known and totally real saying goes, you're only as hard to kill as there are a number of hidden ledges in your boss area, and Cormorax truly fell foul of just such a hidden pocket of pain. Now normally, any fight against this beast would be one of blind panic, with only those tipping the level cap and with outrageous weaponry able to stand toe to claw, yet thanks to a tiny little ledge to the left of the arena, players could both shoot at and not be hit by Cormorax's damaging projectiles. Thus it became a battle of attrition and whether or not you'd actually brought enough bullets to the fight. They even referenced the power of the ledge in a subsequent Borderlands game, saying that it was the true hero of the battle, and I have to bloody well agree with them. And people wonder where I came up with the whole big ledge thing. It's not this, by the way, but still, this is a big ledge indeed. Number 3. Lingering Will, Kingdom Hearts 2. For many, the battle against the Lingering Will in Kingdom Hearts 2 really did live up to its namesake, because boy howdy did this boss just stick around for absolutely bloody ever, and every time that it defeated you, it stole part of your soul. Now, it might sound like hyperbole, but this boss really is the worst thing that Kingdom Hearts has ever spewed out, and for most gamers represented a point where the devs just went a little too far. With its insatiable appetite for ruining your day with meaty attacks, a sickening ability to heal itself, and for the entire battle to fall apart with just 1 or 2 hits being taken, Lingering Will might as well have been called Suspended Stink, as it was huffing up the place with its guffs no end. But you know what's even stinkier? This ripe bit of cheese that players found to make this boss an utter joke. By sinking in the time to beat Sephiroth and acquire/equipping items that reduce the number of attacks per combo, meaning that you're always hitting with an aerial finisher, and then buffing that attack to Kingdom Come, you'll be able to stunlock the beast and rinse repeat until it's down to just a fraction of its starting health. This is by no means an elegant fight, and it can go wrong at a moment's notice, but still, it is so impressive that this boss basically provided such a challenge that the community just said, right, no, enough of you, we're going to rewrite the game's data and basically scratch build an entire build just to take down this one boss. Take that, mate. Number 2, the General, Kaiser Knuckle. So when it comes to utter cheese lord fighting game final bosses, there are a few entries that immediately spring to mind. You've got the likes of Shao Kahn, you've got Jinpachi, and of course you've got Gil, who I swear has done more irreparable damage to my family name than even Jack Hobo Stabber Gil. And that guy strangled dogs. However, all of those actually pale in comparison to the General from the oft-forgotten title Kaiser Knuckle, although after facing off against this despot, you might see this as a moment of collective repression, as nobody wants to remember the beatdowns that this guy doled out, because to put it bluntly, this guy cheats a lot. For a start, he's got all of the hallmarks of a horror show boss: teleportation, multiple ghost form attacks, instant grabs, and relentlessly punishing combos, and he wastes no time in putting all of these to good use. It's a struggle to last even 10 seconds with the General, let alone beat him, but if you are dedicated to finding victory, you're gonna have to pray that you're not lactose intolerant, because there is a whole load of cheese to scoff. Of the few that have actually bested this beast, the common thread seems to be working towards a stun lock as soon as possible, clipping the General with a jumping kick kick to low kick to uppercut, and then repeating ad nauseum. So I hear you asking, how is this actually cheating? Well, it's cheating in the sense that this is meant to be a fighting game where you learn the nuances of all your characters, but here, every single person has to do the same 3-hit combo again and again and again in order to get through this. You have to cheat to get past the cheater. And it sucks. And number 1, BENDAK STARKILLER, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Now, good old BENDAK here is what's known as a legend, having earned himself quite the reputation on Taris for his skills in the duel ring, and by skills I mean shooting people in the face before they can mouth "oh hot damn." Now this is a true killer through and through, and has actually retired from competition because nobody even piqued his interest as a real challenge. That was until he started hearing rumours of a young whippersnapper that was as good with a vibro blade as a blaster. Oh, and by the way, that whippersnapper, that's you. Thus, after basically prodding him with a stick and saying, "Come on, kill me," STARKILLER begrudgingly returns to the ring for one last fight. Now, under normal circumstances, this would be the end of you, as after all, this is right at the start of the game and he is now shooting you with pinpoint accuracy from the other side of the ring. So I know what you're asking yourself, how do I beat this guy? Have you not got what this video is about? You cheat! You cheat! After surviving the initial grenade spam offered up by STARKILLER, rush directly towards him. This would obviously seem like a death sentence, but as you get close, he'll put away his pistol and draw his blade. Yet instead of engaging him in a fair duel, just drop back again and shoot him from a distance, falling back every time he gets close. Now, after an admittedly very long time of running away and just firing just like 3 or 4 shots and then running away again, he finally will be defeated in what must have been the weirdest thing for people to watch. Imagine that. You've just realised that STARKILLER's coming back out of retirement to do one last bout, and you're sitting there, you've paid your, I don't know, your 50 million credits in order to get a front row ticket. And what you're doing is just watching some nobody just go like, pew, 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 pew. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, he's dead. STARKILLER might have been a champion, but smart, he was not. And there we go, my friends. Those were 7 more video game bosses who forced you to cheat. I hope that you enjoyed that. And again, I am very sorry if my delivery was a bit off today. And the skits were quite low. The time constraints plus my illness, just not a great combination. But I hope that you enjoyed it nonetheless. And let me know what you thought about down in the comments section below, as well as your suggestions for next week's episode, because I'd love to read all of them. And I'd love to make some more juicy content when I start feeling 100% again. But yes, massive thank you to James Dowles as well for the short turnaround of edit. Big love to you, mate. But if you want to chat to me further, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, and you can follow James Dowles over here, James Dowles E, an extra E, because he is an absolutely big legend. I don't know where I was going with that one. My brain is still foggy. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope you treat yourself with love and respect, my friend. Don't try and cheat yourself out of things in life, because you deserve the time and effort and love putting into situations that grow you into a better person. Don't look for the shortcuts in life. Always try and knuckle down, work hard, because trust me, if you earn those skills, if you earn your place up the ladder and whichever goal that you're working towards, you will feel that reward so much more than just cutting your way to the front of the queue. No one likes that. Big love to you though, my friend. Take care of yourself, and I will see you next week, my friends. Bye-bye. Now back to my crypt.